I think we'll start the episode actually in the town because I want to show this loot. So welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, and especially at this stage to this Aserai campaign. Now, of course, we have hordes of XLII and Sturgian forces to ransom here. We're collecting nobles like they're fucking poker chips, piling them up as if we went all in and someone lost a big pot full of nobles to us. But I want to show you a couple things here at Ortengard. We just destroyed the XLII, quite literally, destroyed their whole kingdom here, but they left a huge pile of food. Evidently, their nobles or whatever, they had 20,000 fish and grain here. This could be an artifact from the Strengthen AI mod and a bunch of sheep and cows and stuff like that. Now, I can't use this food because it's too far away from most of my storage locations. So we're going to buy some camels here. But look at this. I want to show you this too. There were 3 Khans coats and plates, right? These beautiful pieces of armor. Nothing else notable here, and we kind of got ripped off in our Khans battles. So in our battles against the XLII, so we're going to buy these 3 beautiful pieces. Now, this is the point I want to make, right? It's 1.47 million. It's going to take a third of our gold to buy this armor. Well, not really, right? Because all we do is we call the merchants over and say, hey, we would love to buy these 3 beautiful pieces of armor. And I am going to just show you this process here. We're just going to sell some of the loot from these endless battles that we've been fighting. And we're probably going to, actually, we are going to make money. It's just a question of, does it cost us most of our loot, right? They need to fix this part of Bannerlord. Of course, we may have to ask for a modder, but if somehow there's one Tail Worlds guy watching this, please put in unique items to Bannerlord. Just like Diablo, that whole series, or any other role-playing game for that matter, put some objects where there's one of them in the game, and they're totally elite, and make them cost like 10 million or 20 million. Give us some purpose for this endless pile of wealth in the late game, and even better, let the enemy buy them too if they have huge amounts of money, right? That would really make money more worthwhile in Bannerlord. Otherwise, we're literally just piling up armor. We have unlimited gold, all of that armor added to our inventory, and evidently these merchants are happy with like some ripped shawls and stuff like that. We actually end up leaving the city with money. Now, after destroying the XLII, we really don't have a major threat here, right? The Valandians theoretically are at war with us. So are the Southern Empire, but the Aserai are dealing with the Southern Empire. And notice there's no XLII, right? They're gone. So the Sturgians are next. They're actively sieging one of our cities. So we're going to rush down there. That's why I can't take this food, because we would be encumbered. But Ortengard is ours. We smashed the XLII in a devastating siege assault there. We don't have very many armies in our kingdom. I'm considering making another clan, simply because we need more armies. Of course, there's these little armies running around that are former XLII. They lost the head of their snake, or the head of their whatever, the head of their ant train, and so they're all wandering around lost. They have no law and order. We're getting peace for some reason with the Minor Clan. I didn't know I was at war with the Brotherhood of the Woods. I didn't do anything to those guys. Of course, Ortengard, we're going to seize control of Ortengard. This is a big, majestic, prosperous city with 20,000 food. Maybe that'll end up being the northern capital of our empire here. Peace with Valandia. Now, this is our vassal. Of course, you give this motherfucker some influence, and the next thing you know, he's just a Roomba. He's going to bounce off the room and do random shit. That's unfortunate. He's going to waste all of our influence, but I don't think that's going to matter. I have never really played a campaign like this where influence was a huge problem. So we're going to head to this city here and try to get down here and defend Chaikan. It's a Sturgian force that's assaulting this. We're getting troops back from a quest. And speaking of Sturgians, here's another army of Sturgia. So there's lots of armies of Sturgia here, 1,600, and lots of infantry. Okay, we want these guys to attack us. We're going to intercept them, or more accurately, they're going to think they can win this battle and intercept us here, and then we will deal with whatever forces at the city there. I can't quite see how many are there, but we're not about to let them get to the city and have to fight both of them. So we're just going to cross their paths here. And you're not attacking. There's some reason they're not going to attack us. They're just completely... man, that's weird. These guys are just totally ignoring us. Like they have fucking robot blinders on. I don't know if they don't think they can defeat us. Or some other reason. I got to get these troops spread out, otherwise we're going to get deserters here. Got 457 troops, but why isn't this guy? I'm going to attack him. I'm not about to let him go there. If he's going to make us initiate the action, maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe he doesn't want to be the initiator. Hey, it's our old friend Monchug. Maybe we can recruit him into the clan. Isn't that how it works? These guys hate us, of course. Minus 99 relation. But we could use some cooks. I always thought that the whole Mongol crowd and Genghis Khan, I always thought he would be a really good cook, or maybe a painter if he had Bannerlord, right? If he wasn't a warmonger, he probably had some other skills. Maybe Monchug could be a good servant boy for Wazuban. So we're going to fight these Sturgians. If they're not going to engage us in combat, we attack, right? Fuck these Sturgians. We're not about to allow them to rally a huge force here. All right. This doesn't look like the battlefield that I expected to be on, but that's okay. Plenty of open space here. I actually didn't look real close at their troop composition. Maybe they have lots of archers. Maybe they're going to play defensive, which a lot of guys want to see me fight more defensive battles. So hopefully that's the case. If they have a bunch of infantry and they just charge headlong, I'm probably going to talk into space, right? Because we're just going to absolutely slaughter this Sturgian force. We're starting to really hit our stride in this campaign. There's been some very difficult spots, some extremely difficult battles. We've had some losses, right? Wazuban has lost 2 or 3 battles. He was Cole before his mother Arwa named him Wazuban, Wazoo the Second. If you didn't catch that episode, that's what that stands for. Ban in the Aserai language. We are going to go ahead and make shit up because that's what the narrator can do. It stands for the second, just like we do William the Second and shit like that. Alright, so we are going to set up our divisions just in case they have lots of infantry here, and this is a flexible roster. I have basically these divisions set up, and I've developed this over the years of playing. At this stage it is years, literal game years and real life years, and we are going to handle whatever the Sturgians throw at us here. Still going to show some of these battles. Now we're not going to use this little beach. This is the battlefield. This is in multiple locations across the map. This battlefield is also near Ortesia and down there by Quayaz. But we're not going to use that. We don't need it here. That's something we could always fall back on. I wish this was 10,000 Sturgians because then we'd go down to the beach. But it's 1,600, very soon to be fertilizing the ground Sturgians. Now, I don't have a true skirmisher division. I just don't have enough javelin throwers in our army. So I really have 2 shock divisions, the 3rd and the 6th. The 1st infantry is more of a shield division. And at this stage, we have an incredible amount of archers, which is fine. Right, I would actually prefer we had less because, frankly, archers are OP, right? As you young kids say, they are definitely OP in Bannerlord, especially once you know how to use them. So they have a mixed force here. It's interesting. They have quite a bit of archers, not a huge amount, but they have quite a bit. It's still mostly infantry. They actually have a lot of horse archers. So let's just fuck around with here a little bit with tactics. Let's do a ring defense in the center of the map. We'll do a shield and shock approach to deal with these horse archers. We have really too many archers for this strategy, but we can make it work, right? We can put the crossbow division off here over on the left. We have a horse archer division. The 8th Corps is usually elite cavalry. That'll be a lot of the Jawal units, like our elite Jawal companions at this stage. I haven't looked at their stats lately, but you can be assured that a lot of those guys have 250 plus in many skills. This Sturgian force, of course, because they've been taken Khazate territory, has a huge horse archer division. This might be why they wanted us to attack, right? In theory, all of their defensive units there, their horse archers, gives them some kind of advantage. But obviously not when they use them like that, right? We've got our ring defense. We're bringing up archers by the hundreds, and these guys, just like that guy, are going to lose their head. These guys are pounded. This is really interesting. The Sturgians are flanking hard. They're going uphill. They don't have a lot of archers, but they're assuming a defensive position on that ridge. That's good. We like some tactics here. We're gonna fuck around. We're almost instantly gonna change our strategy here. You fucks think you're safe up there. Well, We've got some flanking action for you bitches. Let's bring the 2nd Cavalry forward in a shield wall line. We'll bring the 1st Infantry with them as well. I'm going to swivel around to the enemy's right, our right rather. Shock troops, the 4th Division, 5th Division can move up, and we're going to swivel around Horse Archers and Cab behind this division. I'm basically going to, I guess this is going to be like showing off a little bit. At this stage, we could just, you know, just move in aggressively on them. But let's totally manipulate these Sturgians here. They think they're going to flank us. Now I'll show you bitches flanking, right? We're going to get medieval on these asses, right? To quote Pulp Fiction, I got a fucking, there's an axe sticking out of my shoulder. That hurts. Fucking got a little tickle. All right. These crossbows should handle their horse archers handily. Our 3rd and 6th Division, there's a lot of vulnerable guys in there, so we're going to rotate them to the other side of the battlefield as the horse archers. This way they're out of range. The 5th Corps can come with us as well. We're going to flank hard with our archers, and we're going to do more than flank with the 7th and 8th Division, right? First we're going to sort of push off their cavalry attacking them, and we're going to ultra flank this infantry, right? We're going to get them behind these motherfuckers. Now they're charging up here. Maybe they've already changed their strategy. We'll kite, of course, if they charge our infantry. We're going to decide when the battle begins, right? We're more mobile. A lot of our units are high athleticism and shit like that. And more importantly, we're going to pre-kite. Pre-kiting is obviously moving before the enemy gets to you. There's flying horses. This battle so far has everything. The enemy's doing really weird stuff. But they're about to experience a very unpleasant flanking endeavor. So I've got the 3rd and the 6th right here. The enemy line is right here. Well, these guys can just be brought up to meet these guys. They're going to shred them. The horse archers and jab cav here are just absolutely annihilating this flank. We'll put them fully behind the enemy now. In fact, let's get the archers, the 5th Corps behind them. That way we'll have the 4th archers in front of them, the 1st infantry in front of them, cav and jav cav here behind them, the 5th archers on their flank, and then we can roll them up with our 6th and 3rd Corps. This is pretty diabolical, but fuck it. These are the kind of battles here you want to fuck around with a little bit. You see the Sturgians are fishballing a little bit in a shield wall because they're being pounded, right? Oops, I guess I can't punch them to death. You know, there's objects hitting them from every direction. Now I'm going to force feed them the 1st Corps in a square just to sort of give them something to chew on while we shred them with ranged units. And then once they're sufficiently softened up, this is just like a morsel of food, right? We're gonna chew on it for a little bit until it's soft, and then once it's soft, we're gonna swallow it up. The 6th and 3rd Corps are right here with me, and look at the fucking hail. Fucker. Look at the hail of projectiles that the enemy's under here, right? It's just downhill, horse archers shredding them. I called the 2nd Cavalry through here, and I'm basically going to push them to the other side of the battlefield. That way it just sort of disrupts their formations, gives them something to attack and swing their weapons at. But this is where the damage is being done. There's like 300 archers and skirmishers here shredding these Sturgians. And they're faced the other direction because they've got cav charging them and an infantry division in their face. Now it's time to send in these war dogs, right? These guys have been waiting for the command. Kill them all. The command is given and we wade in, right? These nicely softened Sturgians should go down just like a morsel of food that you've been chewing on for an extra long period of time. And the screen absolutely flushes with green, even though they have a lot of troops here. We're outnumbered, theoretically. And I say theoretically because it doesn't fucking matter at all. They're getting a few kills, and they're also getting absolutely killed. They got shock troop divisions boring in on them here. The 7th and 8th might as well charge at this stage. And this large vanguard of Sturgians just got chewed up, right? Literally chewed. Softened the food first, and it goes down nice and easy. In fact, I need a little drink here while we move our unit up here. I've developed this process. Just like those of you that are out there texting and driving, don't do that, by the way, right? Unless you're super athletic, then I guess you can get away with it. But don't do that shit, you'll crash. I've developed a process where I can actually take a drink and give orders at the same time. This is a kind of fun process. I'll have to, someday I'll post one video of me playing, and you guys can kind of see me taking a drink while we command units around. This is the kind of shit you learn when you play Bannerlord for 10,000 hours. All right, these bitches are coming up here. These are weak infantry. Our infantry's just waiting here. I've got the 7th and 8th Corps up on the hill to roll through the enemy flank here. The 3rd Corps is unleashed on these guys. We're just going to charge through with Camels down that valley or down that ridge, just causing disruptions. kill them all, and the Jawal just truck everything in sight. Our army is really hitting its stride now, right? We've got a lot of high-level units in this army. It has been a long time since we've been defeated, and so even with putting troops in garrisons, we still have like 1,000 elite troops. And I've got some tough infantry, or archers coming up here rather, so I'm going to kind of bob and weave. And there's not a whole lot of tactics that we're going to do here or that are necessary, right? We have shock troops moving up, aggressively moving up with infantry. I'm going to do the old swing the axe behind you and kill everything in sight kind of thing here. You can catch one too. The little backswing of an axe is something that if you guys have never used before, it's almost like an exploit. You're basically swinging behind you. You can only do this with high athleticism though. So it's kind of like one of the perks of having super high athleticism. All these stupid bitches chase me, and they just can't catch up, right? You can dodge their blows, kick them in the face. You can have some too, motherfucker. It gets beheaded, and it's a lot of fun is what it is, right? If you've never played a 330 athleticism player in Bannerlord, especially with a big two-handed axe or a fast weapon like a Falx, man, you just become a human blender. And these Sturgian troops just melt away, right? Oh, got fucking gashed pretty good by this lord. He'll pay for that. Good thing he wasn't running at full speed, right? A lot of these lords have 300 weapon skill. He might have killed me. But he didn't. Melted away, and the Sturgian force did as well. We can advance here sort of strategically, but this battle's over. It's beyond over. In fact, the enemy's just fleeing. There's a few guys, they look like they're fleeing the wrong way. And angry shock troops, Wazuban included, are roaring forward here. So we'll do the old real-time strategy, the RTS mod, right? The RTS mode. I guess it stands for real-time strategy mode. I think the idea is it puts you over the top, like Total War and other games where you have this top-down perspective. I'm actually not a big fan of that. I use it from time to time. In fact, we'll probably do. We're going to have war against the Sturgians here. We'll probably do a few RTS. We might even do a whole episode of RTS battles because I know a lot of guys watching this for the first time. Maybe they're learning. They're trying to figure out some tactics. Bannerlord's a very complicated game, especially when you first start. And the RTS mode like this, where you fly over the battlefield, is the easiest way to learn. But I'm not a huge fan just because the immersion effect goes away, right? I want to be down here with the camels. Look at this. This is like 50 Jawal in our army. From these minor clans. I think they're getting free Jawals, and I better clarify that point before someone thinks that we're cheat moding the game. The mod we're using in this campaign to make it extra hard as we get some cinematics here, maybe I'll use this in one of the cutscenes in the future, it gives all of the clans that are not our own clan. In other words, I don't get any free ones. None of our family members get any free ones. Jaim the Prince doesn't get free units. It gives everybody else free troops every day. And I'm using this mod because, frankly, vanilla Bannerlord is too easy at this stage. I've played too much. I've never said that before. That's a good way of saying it. I've played Bannerlord too much. Frankly, we'll need a new game here eventually for me to move on to. And hopefully the channel still has legs after Bannerlord, because it's been a fun process for me, and I could really use a hobby job in retirement. Enough of you guys have been coming. I've been using the analogy. You guys have been coming to the restaurant, and you guys keep coming back. So the food I'm serving, it must not be wretched. You guys must, either it's cheap food, right, or it's good food. One way or the other, though, you guys are coming back again and again to watch episodes. By the way, I appreciate you fellas. I always like to try to slide that shit in. But this Bannerlord campaign, you can only slaughter the enemy in battles like that over and over again. Now, there's another huge force here, and I did lose my train of thought there. We'll see if I remember what I was talking about. I know I was talking, the free troops. So you might even see it here with this Sturgian force. They are sieging, and by the way, I'm just sharing some troops here. I'm overstocked. These troops were not free. These troops, to me, came back from a quest, right? You can send troops away on a quest, and then they will appear all of a sudden, and your army will be overstaffed like that. See if we can see their number go up. 71, 60, 56. It's hard to see in Siege sometimes because the number is perpetually going down, but basically all of the nobles in the whole map right now, and of course most of you guys know this, but they get, I think it's 7 or 6 troops every day for free. And I'm doing that so that the armies we're facing are bigger. They have more troops. They have better troops. They have higher level lords. Now they're going to give us 9. Oh, they want us to pay 9,000. You motherfuckers. Pay 9,000. Yeah, well, we're going to fucking mangle your force here. This is almost like that Russian scene with the equalizer, right? Take your 9,800 and go jerk yourself off 9,800 times and come back in a month. Fuck you, Sturgia, and pay 9,000. We're gonna make an example. These guys are just begging to be made an example of. We're gonna break out our Joe Pesci imitation here and fucking pulverize these Sturgians. Now this was a heavy infantry Sturgian group, so I'm already planning on doing just a garden variety kill box. If you've never seen a kill box before, you're about to witness it. And with the slopes that are here, I might even be able to give you a pretty good perspective. So a lot of times a kill box is very confusing, very dizzying. With the amount of elevation and the valleys, I'll be able to put the enemy in here, manipulate their force. You might be able to see this, even if you're relatively new. You might be able to understand what's going on. And, of course, I will try to explain it. The main concept of a kill box is simple. They have a whole bunch of infantry, 1,000 infantry or something like that, and we're going to prevent them from getting to any of our units until we want to kill them, right? Basically, that's the idea. We have 378 archers in our army right now. That is a lot. On top of that, we have 104 horse archers, and we have Jav Cav as well. A lot of the Aserai units have javelins. So something like 80% of our army has ranged weapons. That's a disaster for a heavy infantry army like this, right? The Sturgians are coming in here, rock, paper, scissors. If it does exist in Bannerlord, this is it for the Sturgians. This is the exact worst army for them to fight. So we're going to take these guys on, and it's going to be ugly. I like to have cav divisions protecting both wings. We're going to have obviously 2 wings, the center, and then I'll probably move the horse archers around a little bit dynamically. And I'm just charging here temporarily because I want to get to this ridge, right? We're trying to win this ridge, get there quickly, and start setting up the kill box. So on this side, it's the crossbow in the center. It'll be the 5th division, and the 6th will be over there. On top of that, I can stick the horse archers way over there. That's the main killing divisions. Those 4 divisions are going to do 90% of the killing in this battle. We'll still attack with the Jav Cav, and infantry may eventually get some licks. But like the 3rd Corps and these other shock troops, the 1st Division has some shock troops. They have a lot of horse archers, actually. So this is going to be a little bit of a messy kill box, but I still think it's going to work well. We're actually just going to get our shock troops out of the battle, right? These guys are so vulnerable to horse archers, and they're not going to be needed in this battle. I just don't need shock troops. Maybe towards the end we'll use them. But in the early stages, I'm literally just going to send these guys, like they're going to be sent in the rear with the gear, right, to use the military term. Now, at the beginning here, we're just shelling their horse archers, right? It's 114 horse archers. We've got some nice ranged advantage here because we're uphill, and we obviously outnumbered them in a large fashion. The infantry is that only 300? I say only, it's only 300 infantry. They actually have a lot of other units, which is fine. I think reinforcements will arrive, and they'll get more infantry. But we'll also, it's fine, we can do a kill box on 300 infantry. We should be able to kill them virtually without them making contact to our army. You know, slaughter these horse archers here. Of course, Wazuban is an absolute terror in all 3 parts of the game. Up close, castle siege, and at range. Alright, we'll start the kiting process. Kiting, obviously, I just mentioned in the previous battle, is just pre-moving back of units before the enemy gets to you, right? So we're moving the 6th or the 7th horse archers over there. The 1st infantry is merely in the way here. In fact, these infantry, all these shock troops, they really are kind of in the way. I think I'll just park them at the back of the battlefield here. We'll just say fall back. That way they don't get killed or in the way, right? Sometimes your own units will get in the way. Over here, we're going to move the 4th Division, right? That's a bunch of crossbow and whatnot. And just start to flank the enemy. The 5th Corps, the hills here aren't great. I've said in the past, don't use a kill box in a hilly area. We're still going to be able to make it work, right? We will have guys that can't see all the time. They won't have targets. That's okay. Enough of these guys are going to have targets to absolutely destroy this Sturgian vanguard. You see, I've got the infantry back here in a square just because I don't want their horse archers scorching it. These fucking assholes. Let's kill this flag, motherfucker. These guys are actually high-level horse archers, right? There's a high-level lord. These guys are a little bit of a threat, but we're also dwindling their numbers pretty quickly. All right, infantry divisions here, the 5th Archers. They're starting to get close to some of these infantry. We're just going to keep moving. And the main idea here is basically anytime the enemy infantry, wow, that was a really good block. Anytime the enemy infantry get anywhere near one of your divisions, you move them. You move them away, right? We're not going to allow them to initiate into contact here. That is the whole concept of this strategy. Now, admittedly, it does require a lot of micromanaging. This is an important step too. I'm using the 2nd Corps here to block a lot of the enemy arrows, right? They have horse archers, they have archers shooting us. I'm using that 2nd Cav division strictly defensively in this battle. All right, where are these guys at? The hills make it a little bit difficult to see where they are, and I got some reinforcements kind of trickling in here. This is the 1st Division. Let's pull these guys out of here quick. Some of these guys may get caught up. But one of the advantages here is that the enemy's holding their shields up. They have to, otherwise they would get full-scale exterminated, right? Even with their shields up, they're still taking a beating. Now we can start fucking pushing in here with our arch divisions. The Sturgians are in the valley. They're forming the traditional fucking fishball because they're being shredded. Now the enemy's moving up almost 300 archers, and the enemy has infantry reinforcements coming behind him. But I think we can annihilate this huge Sturgian vanguard before any of those forces even get here. Or at least really close. They've got a handful of heavy cavalry that has no idea what it's doing here. They have a sign up. In fact, that cavalry just put up a sign and it says, "I don't know what I'm doing here." Oops, this was an accident. All these Jawal are running through here, going to suffer some losses here. This is suboptimal. And these are the 5th, or that's the 4th. Nope, that is the 5th. I've got one of my divisions confused. The terrain is giving me a little bit of difficulty here with the kill box, but you just keep moving. The enemy really cannot close no matter what, right? This is a situation where even if you mess up, the only way you can really mess up is if you allow that infantry division to totally swarm one of your archer divisions, right, and really start using their axes on your units. Until that happens, they're just carved apart, right? The horse archers are shredding them. The 6th Corps over here is shredding them. They're fully encircled at this stage, right? You can now see they're badly encircled. They're in the valley. Like I said, this is almost like the RTS mod, right? The Sturgians are literally just down there being liquidated wholesale. Every 10 kills of ours, they get 1 kill, and most of those kills are like their horse archers or their archers shooting our units or something. It's certainly not this infantry, right? Those guys haven't fucking touched anything with their axe. These guys are dying with clean weapons because they can't get to anything. And now they're completely fucked. Now they're like 80 yards from every target. And these guys really would be better served by taking their shield off their shoulder and starting to dig a hole in the ground. These guys are all dead. So we'll swallow them up here. In fact, the enemy is bringing up additional infantry, starting to reach some of our cav lines. So we're going to both save this cav from this incoming infantry and liquidate these Sturgians, right? The 1st, 3rd, 6th, 2nd, 7th, 8th, a whole bunch of divisions here all sweep in and annihilate the rest of the Sturgians. Now, we're still worried, you know, or at least aware, not worried for sure, about the rest of the forces that are coming up here, but we're just going to keep the same process. You see our position here on the hills, the enemies in the valley, and they're being pounded by arrows. We have infantry charging in the middle. Our position here is completely unstoppable. There's no Sturgian force that's going to get through this. I mean, the archers on both sides are raking, absolutely shredding everything in sight. Now, they're going to run out of ammo. Is this the 4th? Ah, shit. Well, I let our 4th Division get caught up a little bit. Now, the good thing is that these are now middle-tier infantry, right? We destroyed their good infantry. And look at that. With that speed bonus, our crossbow division was easily able to clear from that little entanglement with their infantry. That was a fumble on my behalf. With all the hills, of course, it gets a little bit difficult to see what you're looking at, where your units are. By the way, that's a good reason to have those speed banners. If you're going to do kill boxes, if you're going to do mobile tactics like this, speed banners for your units are incredibly powerful. They're borderline cheat codes, right? Your infantry is being assaulted by the other infantry. You have them run away, and they just easily clear and get distance from the enemy, unless the enemy has speed bonuses. And I have encountered that in this campaign. I've seen, or at least I think I've seen, enemy infantry with speed bonuses because they were moving incredibly fast. Like, we couldn't run away and they trucked us. It was one of the battles we lost. It was so long ago, I don't remember the specifics, but it was a Valandian force that just closed like a freight train. And to be on the receiving end of it is pretty horrifying. Got this noble here. We're just going to fucking take her off her horse, denobilize her, right? We'll just fucking put her in the ground with the rest of the peasants. And this must be her sister here. She's just standing there holding up her shield. I wonder if she's out of arrows. She's pretty much a hapless bitch here. Never mind. Doesn't really matter. They're going to get shredded here when we make our assault. Now, our units are getting low on ammo, right? So our crossbow division now turns into infantry. Those guys are in a shield wall over there. We've got to deal with this small amount of straggling infantry here, and it's going to be time for us to go on the offensive. At this stage, the enemy actually has more ranged units than we do. Some of the horse archers have some ammo left, and we can actually sweep around on their archers. They're in a traditional big long line, so we can have our infantry and crossbow divisions attack their sort of cattywampus, unorganized, no discipline infantry. We're gonna sweep in here and just fucking truck their archers. I don't think I have enough cavalry to destroy these archers, but if we can prevent them from shooting 500 arrows at our units that are fighting, that's gonna make a big help in this battle. Now they're already moving up more reinforcements. I see them out of the corner of my eye, so to speak. You know, this battle's hardly over yet, but it's getting there, right? We've already butchered the enemy in 3 or 4 different separate tactical engagements. Our cavalry just trucked their archers. Oh shit, I had a whole cavalry division just sitting back here. Span of control, friends, right? Don't command 8 units if you're forgetting stuff a lot. I forget stuff occasionally, and it's not often enough for me to think that it's a detriment. All right, some shield and shock time, right? We're going to actually use these archers as shock troops. Part of the reason is they're out of ammo, right? So we will send a big line of cav towards the enemy, basically plowing the road so that our infantry, shock troops, and archers can arrive on their targets without being shot. Or without being shot a lot anyways, right? Basically all of those horsemen that we're sending forward, those guys have one job, and that is basically to shield and screen the rest of our troops. Their archers are full out fucking fleeing. They're all backpedaling. They may be out of ammo too. This has been a long battle. Now have no fear, fans of brevity. We are going to both use the RTS mode in battles like this in the future to give you the overhead view for instructional in case guys want to see what the fuck's going on here. Some guys might like it for the cinematics, right? It's definitely more dramatic from the overhead look, but we're also going to use it to blaze through battles, and I assure you I'm not going to show you 300 battles like this where we just absolutely crush a Sturgian force. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, right? The enemy has 700 troops, right? So they're going to potentially turn on us here. So we will move up here. We'll move up with our Jawals. It's amazing seeing all these camels. The enemy is charging us with another infantry line here. Actually, archers are amongst those charging us, which is always a bad result. The enemy's in full-out panic mode. They're running all over the place. They're getting run over by camels. And now this battle's over, right? Their units are getting decked to the ground. We've ran out of men to fucking fight, so now we're pounding the women troops into the ground. We're an equal opportunity pounder here. I guess we're bisexual from a war perspective. But we'll fuck them all. And in we plow, right? Palace guards are aiming savage fucking swings with their huge executioner axe. If you guys didn't catch it, and of course, you know, there's 30 something episodes, actually 30, this might be like 35, I don't know at this stage. I'm just filming and then processing later. But we've had, oh shit, they are fighting more, you bitches. Oh shit, we're getting stuttering. That's probably the AI trying to figure out how they escape, and indeed they just mass routed. Shit, while these stutterings are happening, I'll mention this fact. The Aserai shock troops, they're not the best in the game, but their tier 3 shock troop is, well, first it's the only one in the game, and they are incredibly powerful. I had a whole little section on how nasty they are. I basically had some custom battles clipped into one of these episodes, and it was awesome what they were capable of defeating. They really did just crush everything. Yeah, of course you got to use some tactics, you got to use your head, but the Aserai shock troops are a fucking joy to have on your side, right? They're a nightmare to fight. And to be on the opposite side, of course, the best way to deal with them is not to let them reach you, right? You're doing some shield and shock when you have them, and when you don't have them, right, you're kiting and hammering them with javelins and whatnot. Look at this fucking massacre. We're really starting to gain a head of steam, and there's a little bit of snowball effect here at this stage, right? This is always a factor in Bannerlord. Anybody who's played Bannerlord knows about the snowball effect. Your army wins, it gets stronger. The next battle you win even easier, it gets even stronger, etc., 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 right? You get better equipment, your party levels up, although Wazuban is to the point where he's not getting skill perks, right? He's like maxed out or approaching maxes in a lot of categories. And it's, you know, it's, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 episodes since we've had a really brutal, difficult open field battle. But right now, Wazuban feels unbeatable in the open field. Of course, I'm saying, I'm role-playing a little bit. I feel with this army that we're rolling out there, and this fucking, he looks like the Mountain from the Game of Thrones, with this beast of a warrior. Who also has 330 medicine skill, or 320 something anyways. We're approaching 330, so all the troops have extra hit points, and then we're rolling out fucking Jawal, Camels, just trouncing everything. It's really starting to feel like a juggernaut in this campaign. So we'll see. There's still mega huge kingdoms to fight. The Valandians have 5 or 6 times the amount of troops we have, and that includes all of our cities and castles. This is, I've seen this, and I think this is the realistic battle mod. I'm not sure if that's a fog bank or what. It's a cool effect, but I haven't had a battle yet in fog. For fans that wanted to see sandstorms, I've only had one battle in a sandstorm, and it was such a lopsided battle that I didn't save it. In retrospect, because it was the only one, I wish I had saved it. It was relatively early on. It was like 1,500 against 1,200. We had 1,500, and it was a blowout. So I didn't save that. And I'll try to save you guys from this this sort of slow part of the game. A lot of these don't matter too much. Shatha, she continues to develop as our scout. She's very young. Of course, she just started joining the party and being the lead scout. You can picture her kind of leaning off to the side of her camel or horse as she looks down at the tracks of the enemies, helping us out. Now, Talia Willowbark is going to be one of the kingpins of our army, or queenpins, I guess. She has very high medicine skill, and she's almost constantly going to be with the main army. She's going to be my lieutenant for all intents and purposes. Now, Ortengard looks pretty safe. Kimley's garrison's a little bit weak, just a tad bit weak. And it's more Sturgian beating time here, right? As long as the rest of the other kingdoms are busy, the Aserai and the Southern Empire down here punching each other in the face over and over again, we like that. Although it really looks like the Aserai is starting to lose. We may have to respond down there eventually. But for now, we have the Sturgians all to ourselves. This is Legion of the Betrayed. That is a big army. I bet that's the leader. I don't remember. Let's corner this guy here. We need troops bad. This guy is the leader. Wow, so this is a beautiful gift here. He just happens to be neutral. Come with us. Whatever you want for gold, it's yours, right? We're happy to pay this guy. It really doesn't matter what he wants. We're fucking printing dinars at this stage, and that is a beautiful thing, right? 300 troops. He has a lot of infantry. Oh man, this guy is stacked for troops to 116 Legionnaire. And so in this case, we're benefiting from the Strength and AI mod. Obviously, all of the enemy lords are benefiting from the Strength and AI mod. This gives you a little window into it, right? These enemies that we're facing are juggernauts. And fortunately, we have a few allies here and there to join us. I'm going to do some more quests here, continuing to do quests up and down the East Coast here, so to speak, as we want all these guys to very eagerly give up their troops for us. Now, we only have one minor clan, or excuse me, we have two minor clans, but we only have one player clan. And that's something that I'm continuing to think about, which character I want to release, so to speak, because of course, when you assign a minor clan to, to their new kingdom, to their new fiefdom within your kingdom, you lose control over them, right? They become just like the Black Prince here. They run around, they do all kinds of random shit, and you just never know what they're going to do, right? A lot of times they do really dumb stuff. We're continuing to boost the Black Prince's influence here because I'm hoping at some point or other this guy, Jaim the Prince, forms an army. Right? We're going to release this guy with a bunch of different armies here. We're going to try to sally north with an army of about 1,000, maybe 900. Continue to harass the Sturgians, and I'm hoping that this other army here, or at least what I hope is another army here, will help us in multiple locations. There's a pretty good chance the Southern Empire is going to be besieging us soon since they're tearing up the Aserai. So away those guys go. They're like heat-seeking missiles. Here's a Sturgian army forming, although they're more like random heat-seeking missiles, just like the hunt for Red October. They're just as likely to turn around, U-turn, and kill us all in our submarine here because the Allied nobles don't do things very brilliantly very often. We're going to do everything we can to help them, and I've talked about that. I will continue to talk about that. I will continue to supply them troops, gold, influence, etc., so that they have good armies. But ultimately, we're at the mercy of the AI here. And again, I reiterate, AI stands for artificial imbecility. Now, we got the Sturgians on the run here. There's a bunch of these solo clans. They're former Khazate. They're just roaming the lands, basically. And they represent a threat still, right? These guys may attack our units, so we will treat them like enemies until proven otherwise. But this city here, Makeb, just is right in our path, and we're going for it, right? Now, I'd love to wrangle some more of these Sturgian forces, tackle these guys, and eliminate this army before they get going. There's a huge defense force in Makeb. Fucking Jaim the Prince. He gets captured by looters. That's hilarious. So this guy, he was like 10-0 in battles against big armies and other, imperial kingdoms and shit like that. He was mauling the Khazate, and then he gets he gets fucking attacked and captured by looters, which shows you two things. First, I was just referring to it, the artificial imbecility, and second, that's those huge looter bands. If you don't know, that's from a little mod I've added called Dangerous Bandit Parties. It creates bandits of all kinds: sea raiders, forest bandits, looters, etc., desert raiders, and their armies can be over 1,000, which is really interesting. I think basically there's these huge peasant revolt type armies out there, and some of them have cavalry. In fact, the looters, despite their name, have cavalry. Now this is a problem. This gal, I set her ostensibly, she's chasing Monchug. I set her out here ostensibly to help track this Sturgian force, and she, like a heat-seeking missile, random heat-seeking missile, she's just rocketing off against the wrong target, right? The Sturgians are going to get away, and it does look like she's chasing down Monchug here, which is interesting, right? We're going to be able to help, I hope. We're chasing the Sturgian force into the castle, and we're going to capture Mr. Monchug here. Come with us. Of course, your dipshit nobles, they always asking for peace. If you don't know, we're not going to give any of our enemies peace unless they beg us and pay us, right? We're going to basically power trip on these bitches and say, if you don't give us piles of money and come give my wife foot massages, platonic foot massages, then your asses are going to be enemies. Now, Monchug here will just auto-resolve. And I think, I respect this guy, right? That incredible battle at Ortengard. I'm not going to try to recruit these clans, not unless our campaign is going totally sideways and we're getting shredded. But I want to sort of bow, not submissively, but bow out of respect to this Monchug fellow, right? They fought like fucking demons to hold their territory here. And I think I can at least get peace with them, right? I might have to pay the guy money. That doesn't really matter. Money to us is just not an issue. So let's talk to the Khan here, the former Khan. I feel a tiny bit remorseful for completely destroying him. Yeah, we can make peace. How much gold do you need to make some peace? Make peace with the Hanate. I think that's his clan. Of course, he doesn't need money. Look at the strength in AI, right? This guy has 10 million gold. So we'll just give them a little bit of our, we've got plenty of wealth too. Here you go. Have a couple 100,000, buddy. And I think we have peace. It looks like we have peace. Oh, we can marry? Oh, no, he just wants Arwa. Well, you're not getting my mother. My mother's not for fucking, she's not available. The matriarch of the family, right? Arwa was Wazoo's wife. You know, she's the mother of all these children, right? So we're not about to marry her off to some other kingdom. She's staying with us till she gets old age. I guess you can sort of call that sentimentality with Monchug there. You know, an old rival, right? I don't, of course, it's a video game. I don't hate any of these characters. Of course, if any of them kill my wife in battle, you will see Wazuban enter a fucking total rage, and logic will go out the window in this campaign, at least temporarily. Strategy will go out the window. If you remember, of course, Cole raided, sacked, sieged, and destroyed and razed to the ground Physion, because that was where the evil Ruwa was hiding after she assassinated Mata. Cole, who is now Wazuban, entered the city in a rage, executed her, probably executed some fucking blind people or some other horrific shit. He was totally enraged, burned the city to the ground. And then a couple episodes later, if you remember, I was wondering why we had a criminal rating with the Southern Empire. I don't understand why we have a criminal rating. And of course, it makes perfect sense. Fucking razed their city to the ground, beheaded their noble on the floor of the palace. That evil Ruwa. And try to trap this Sturgian army. And they did just trap themselves. Again, artificial imbecility. It's nice when it benefits you here. This guy's literally just walking right into the trap. He can't get away. Talia Willowbark cuts off his retreat, and we destroy this Sturgian force. This is just gonna, we'll just auto-resolve this shit. Orig, come with us, you stupid dipshit. Stop, stupid fucking dipshit with a bad accent. Come with us. All right, so I think it's on to Makeb. I always like doing this before a siege, right? Anytime I can eliminate significant threats outside the city, because what we don't need is to get attacked and taken prisoner by 3,000 Sturgians, right? The Sturgians have a lot of territory. They're forming very large armies, probably a combination of just normal. They have like 10 cities and lots of castles. Is this? No, this isn't the leader. Their leader is Kanar. Where's your leader? Take me to your leader. Where's this motherfucker? Oh, he's Ortengard. That's the city we just took. So we're going to look for these guys, right? I want the Beni Zilal as part of our kingdom, right? That would give us 3 minor clans and 1 player clan. And I would be satiated with that, at least for a while. So we're going to look for that fella. His name is Kanar. And add the Beni Zilal. We're trying to we're trying to have some culturally correct minor clans. Now we don't have the Gilman anymore. The motherfuckers abandoned us right in the middle of a siege a few episodes ago. And of course we have this Legion of the Betrayed. I'm not sure if that's who you want to ally with, by the way, Legion of the Betrayed. There's these guys have been betrayed, and so they're likely to do some betraying. Now, this guy, you know what? This guy's the Black Prince's assistant. He's like the lieutenant to one of these other clans we have. That's cool. Radan is... So he's, conceivably, he can form armies as well. We're going to call him to the main army here. In this case, we'll just call everybody. These other clans can't join because they're too small. I want to make sure we have enough forces here to take Makeb, right? This is a well-defended city. We can't afford to stub our toe at this stage. Speed is important because I'm not going to have a lot of time to fuck with the Sturgians. I'm only going to be up here for... I'm looking down at the calendar. It says spring 20. I would bet by summer 10 or summer 15, we're going to be attacked by the Southern Empire. We need to get down there. So I'm going to try to take one more city and maybe one more castle, and then we're going to head south to basically deal with the Southern Empire. Now, I am going to leave an army up here, or try to leave an army up here to help defend. Maybe even Rodan will lead it. Hopefully it's Jaime the Prince, because he's got, you know, some good skills now. He's starting to develop as a commander. Technically, he's undefeated, right? As long as he doesn't fight looters, he's in good shape. But I can't afford a very long siege here, so we're just going to try to blow down some of these fire catapults that cause so much destruction. I definitely learned my lesson at, what was that, Kimley Castle. where we got 400 or 500 casualties because they had fire cats and really secured the walls well against us. That was a nightmare. If you didn't catch that, it was probably the last episode, but I lose track. Of course, I form these episodes and do the processing and cut scenes and shit like that after I play them. So this will be quick, and I'm working out the timing in my head. We might have time for one more castle. What I'm trying to do is essentially leave a defense buffer up north so that when we go down to deal with the Southern Empire, the Sturgians don't retake all the territory we've gained. They're definitely going to take a city or three. They might even make significant gains, right? Because we're not going to be here to defend. I'm going to leave a decent garrison here. We'll travel a little bit light back to the heartland, so to speak, right? Back to the homeland. I'm a little homesick, right? We're going to role play here that Wazoo has some really good, I don't know, I got to come up with, we'll say Persian lamb. It's actually a meal that I've learned to cook before. Wazoo Bon really misses some home cooking here. Some Persian lamb is a really good meal that I've made before. It has all kinds of spices that are appropriate, coriander and stuff like that. And Wazoo Bon wants to go home. So this may even be the last city we take. We shall see. Of course, we got to take this city first. It's heavily defended. Any single one of these we can fail. Anytime there's this many defenders, it's always a challenge. Now, I like our odds here, right? We've got fire catapults. We've got lots of troops. We've got high-level leaders to lead these divisions. Try not to waste too much of your time here, but obviously if we lose this battle by 20 men and I don't assign a captain, I look like an idiot. So I've been encouraged by a lot of the people watching this not to hurry too much, right? Not to hurry overtly. We will definitely hurry when it feels appropriate, right? At the end of battles that are over. And again, I'm going to continue to sort of cut out little moments, especially city maintenance, what I consider city maintenance. You're going to do this 1,000 times when you play Bannerlord. You take a city or castle, almost always you're going to want to stock the garrison with appropriate troops. And I can talk about that if there's time in this siege. But also you got to, add some gold to the construction fund. You got to reorganize your army. You've got to sell your loot and put in stuff in the stash if you can. Put some food there if you just starve the city out, etc. Right? And I'm not going to subject you guys to that dozens or scores of times during this campaign. Now, the Sturgians have a mixed force and a lot of troops up here, right? This city is kind of in between all the territories, between Sturgia, the Empire, and XLII. So they're going to have a mix of troops here, and they had like 1,000 defenders, right? You can see the power bar. There's a lot of fucking enemies here. So let's get another archer division over here, right? We need some fucking fire. We need some air superiority here. What do I got here? 3rd, 4th, 5th. I've been doing this a lot. I've been taking the 4th, 5th, and 6th. I've been sort of developing a consistent pattern, both for you guys, but also for me, for memory's sake, so that I can talk about other shit. And let's talk about the garrison here while we throw some javelins into the face of these XLII. Always easier in the first-person shooter. You'll see me switch occasionally, because what'll happen is some guy will get in your way, right? One of these fucks will get in my way. So the garrison, right? Oh, these stupid fucks. You assholes. Anybody gets stuck on the ladder and you guys don't do your job, you get killed. Look at this guy. He's having a seizure. Let's put him out of his misery. Wazoo Bon, like his father, does like to rule by fear. Get on the ladder, you stupid fuck. And, of course, this is just Tail Worlds being buggy. Castles and city sieges are a glorious thing, but they are subject to a lot of failures. And I'll slip this little section in here. I had to, this is a save scum, and here's why. Basically, the game crashed. If you noticed, we are not running the battle size mod, right? We've only got about 250, 300 troops. Oh shit, I'm gonna get killed up here. Oh, thank God they fucking peeled away. We tried this siege maybe 15 minutes ago. Of course, I did the narration twice. That's always fun. And the game crashed on me because of the battle size mod. So I try to tell you that. I try to be upfront with you fellas, so that there's nothing nefarious going on here. Right? It's a fucking video game. It wouldn't matter even if it was. You guys are here for entertainment, not to see us successfully siege a city and tell you, hey, it was the first time. Motherfucking consguards. God, these guys are beasts. Blocking everything. Fuck you. God damn it, man. They just own me. They are Wazoo Bon's nemesis. until we start meeting the actual Nemesis characters in this campaign, and we've met a few. This stupid dipshit. He's still picking up rocks while he's getting hit by javelins. God, he blocks everything. What is this guy? Fucking, it's Jet Li. Look at this fucking guy. Die! I'm just gonna rush this guy till I kill him. I mean, this guy is a fucking arch nemesis over here. We're almost dead. Maybe I'll have to save scum because I can't fucking take this city. That's not something we've done, of course. I have had, I think 3, or 4. I've been trying to keep track of them. We have had crashes, have been the almost the entire reason that we've saved scum in this campaign. Sometimes when you run the battle size mod, especially for sieges, the game twerks out and it fucking, black screens on you, basically it freezes, you get a bunch of sound and no movement, and the game locks up, so you have no choice but to save scum. And we just had to 15 minutes ago here, but we're not doing it just because we lose a battle. I want to be clear with fellas. There was one other time where I saved scum, but it was a situation where I wasn't recording. I was playing out an episode and talking into my mic like an absolute dipshit, only to look down and to realize for sure that my headset, my recording speaker was on mute. So that was really fun because it was like 25 minutes of narrating. Never get those minutes back, right? Time is important. Don't waste time like me, fellas. If you're going to make $20 an episode on YouTube, make sure you're recording at least in the future. And by the way, I don't usually share a lot of insights about stuff like that. We did monetize. About half the videos were monetized, and what I mean by that is you do have a choice. A lot of the videos I don't monetize. Some of them I can't monetize because it's the music is copyright protected. But I'm making about $15 to $25 a day. So don't quit your day job there, fellas. Even with whatever we have, 15,000, 18,000 subscribers, it's not exactly like we're getting rich here. I'm doing this for sure as a labor of love. I figure by the hour, I'm probably making somewhere around $3 a day. So you guys are basically, it's slave labor. If you can call playing a video game slave labor. So I need to start gathering up forces over here. This defense force is really intent on recovering this side of the city, and we're not going to let them, right? We're going to basically own this castle here is ours. Make sure it's not occupied here. And my health is on a sliver here, so we need to get some troops rallied here before we start to make our final push here. I despise ads and all that process, but I'm also spending money just to run the YouTube channel, so it's just one of those inevitable things. And I've also had guys virtually beg me. They're like, please let me support you on your channel, monetize. I don't mind watching a few ads, and I hope that attitude is fairly widespread. Right? This is, especially you guys with YouTube Premium, this is basically very cheap entertainment. And of course, some of the guys are watching this just to get better at Bannerlord. You guys are learning. Maybe you're enjoying the historical anecdotes every once in a while. We'll throw in a little historical anecdote. Let's do some of that shit. In fact, let's talk about food. Right? Historical anecdotes about food. You wouldn't think food would be interesting, but the history of food is, of course, fascinating. I mean, the origin of a lot of world expansion and world discovery, so to speak, if you can call it discovery, like I always find it ironic that Europeans call it the discovery of America when the Native Americans have been there for 10,000 years, the Incas and whatnot. But a lot of that was propelled by food, and more specifically, spice, right? Spice was the modern day equivalent of like a Coach purse, and what I mean by that is that it didn't have a lot of actual material value, a lot of practical value. The people who say that spice was used to save meat from spoiling, that's not very accurate. What they did for spoiling of meat is usually salt. Sometimes they would hide the flavor of not terrific meat with spice, right? They would sort of mask it. Shit, there's so many Khazate here. Or Sturgians, they look like Khazate. These guys, they just won't go away. Fucking die. Give us your city. Give us your spices. But so today, and apologies if this is your wife, I kind of like pounding on this part of society. We do illogical things as consumers. Men have their own thing. Women like to buy fancy clothes and purses and Coach fucking handbags and shit like that for $400 that it took $12 to make. This is a status item, and spices were the medieval status item, right? If you were rich, if you were living in the 1200s in a city like this, what you did to to show ostentatiously, it's a different word, that means basically like blatantly showing off your wealth, the same way people do today with, like, I guess they would do it like a Tesla, what are they called, the Cybertruck, right, where you're just trying to peacock. Back in the day, they would serve meals with lots of rare spices, and this was basically your way of showing your dinner guests that I'm wealthy, I'm someone of importance. You should pay attention to me, etc., etc. So spices, of course, and I'll keep going with this if there's time. We'll do a little multitasking here as we blast through this city. Spices were a very, very long time, essentially our equivalent to like a Coach purse, or the people who buy $80,000 trucks and never put a single thing in the back of them, right? They just have a show truck, and they act tough, and they wear like cardigans and shit, and they've never lifted something heavy in their life, right? They've never shoveled a single shovel load of soil. It's the equivalent, right? They would have lots of spices, and they were extraordinarily expensive because of the distance they had to travel and the fact that the Arabs had such a strong monopoly on the trade, right? The only trade route between where a lot of spices were grown, which is like the Southeast Asia and parts down there, parts of India, the only trade route realistically until they got around the Horn of Africa or whatever it's called was the caravans, right? And so spices were this irrational thing that for literally hundreds of years propelled global trade, even geopolitics, right? Because these countries would then form very large caravans and large armadas of ships to go exploring, and not just exploring, they would go down conquering, trying to take over the Spice Islands and stuff like that. The whole Christopher Columbus thing. He wasn't looking for America. He was looking for a route to China and the Indies. That's why he ended up, India, of course, that's why he ended up calling it they ended up calling it the West Indies. That's why they call it pepper. Or not pepper, but that's why they call fucking chilies pepper. Most of us are familiar. And I'll show you just a little bit of this while I ramble on here. I've got this little historical anecdote. We can slide it in here. See if there's any loot. Another Khan's coat of plates. So this is perfect. This is going to take some mindless clicking, and I can sort of finish this 5-minute little anecdote on history. So Columbus, most of you guys know already. He was a I want to say he was a Portuguese or Italian. Anyways, he wasn't Spanish, but the Spanish basically said, sure, we'll hire you. You can look for, this fabled route to the east. Everybody thought that, you just a couple 4 weeks off the coast of the Atlantic, and you would land in China and have this incredibly cheap trade route. Well, there's an entire gigantic continent and island, ocean, the Pacific Ocean, also in between. So Columbus came over. I can't remember exactly the island he discovered. I think Cuba was one of them, and some of the other islands in there. And of course, he went back and reported, yeah, we found China. We can't verify for sure that we found spices, but they have these things that are kind of hot. The chili pepper today, that's called a chili pepper. That we can thank Columbus for, right? He tried to prove to everybody that the chili pepper basically was pepper, right? Actual black pepper, Malabar pepper, I think it's called, even though they're quite different. Columbus this whole time, that's why they're actually called Indians. The Native Americans, ironically, are still called Indians by many ignorant fucks. Apologies if you do that still, because of Columbus, right? They have nothing to do with India whatsoever other than the ignorance of fucking Christopher Columbus. So we won't go on too big of a political rant, but it's a really interesting aspect that spices caused this massive change in geopolitics. Of course, with the expansion, especially of European countries looking for routes to the Spice Islands and to the Southeast Asian parts of the world, that led to the discovery of America. That led to the discovery of Brazil and South America, because I think it was one of the Portuguese vessels, Vasco da Gama? I don't know. My name's from history. I'm doing it all from memory, friends. I don't have a checklist in front of me. But there was a Portuguese attempt to get around the Horn of Africa to the south, right, to basically go around south, and they bumped in. They went way too far west, obviously, and they bumped into Brazil and essentially claimed that, they threw their flag down right where there were hundreds of thousands of people already living and said, well, we own this now. You know, it's like eminent domain, medieval style. Let's see, do a little bit more here. You guys see some of the inner workings here that I'm skipping most of the time. Food is just really interesting to me, though. Of course, there was all kinds of new discoveries that occurred when Columbus came over and this dipshit thought he discovered China. They brought back all kinds of things, squash. They brought back potatoes. They brought back corn. A lot of the foods that originated in the Americas were brought back. And these things had a pretty big effect on global history. So we'll bounce back into food a little bit. The history of the potato is really interesting to me. There's a bunch of really good books if you want to read more on it. And of course, there's a lot of history buffs on the channel. If you haven't already, and I imagine most of you have, you want to read The Edible History of Humanity. I think that's what it's called. It's like a guy named Tom Standridge or something like that. I know this is pretty poor reporting here, just throwing out names and book titles that might not be perfectly accurate, but I'm trying to multitask and do 6 things at once here, so hopefully I can be forgiven. But it's an amazing book full of anecdotal stories and pretty factual history based on how food has really affected the world. Of course, a lot of the stuff in that book I'm regurgitating, that and other sources. So part of the reason I'm also kind of wandering through subjects here is because I'm not sure what to do here, right? I really feel like I should probably go south and start to head back. Remember I said summer... Oh, this motherfucker just abandons me. Fuck you. That's exactly what you get for trusting someone who says betrayed. They just instantly fucking leave us. So where is this motherfucker? I'm going to track this guy down. This is my new mission here, is to get... okay, so he's still near Ortengard. I'm going to spend a minute or two, well, it's actually going to be a day or two, chasing down this noble clan. You don't get an opportunity very often to add a noble clan to your army, and in a campaign where we badly need resources. In this case, we badly need clan members, right? We have one minor clan and one player clan. So we have like 7-8 armies. You can see them all. That's all the armies in our whole kingdom that are in the army right now. 1,200 troops, and our enemies definitely have 5 times or more of that. Right, the Aserai must have had 50 armies when we declared independence. They had an unbelievable amount of nobles all over the place. Right, when I called large armies together, whether it was Mata or Kol before he became Wazuban, it was literally 2-3 pages worth of these guys. Right, like 30 or 40 nobles. We need some more here, so I'm going to try to chase this guy down. It says Kanar, and you can use the little. The encyclopedia, maybe some people consider that a little bit of cheese. It's almost like having a satellite dish, a fucking Calradia satellite dish here overlooking the land. All I do is just go here and it says, okay, now he's near this town. It's not a very good feature. Maybe if you have really good scouting, it should give you like a general vicinity that the guy was in. Oh, Guzid finally wants peace with the Southern Empire. That's interesting because first, he never should have declared war against the Valandians. And this is beautiful. We add this guy to the army. Good stats. Almost 300 troops in his army. And I love this. He's brave, but easily unraged and unforgiving. That's just the kind of guy I want in my army, right? We're gonna have a brave, easily enraged noble. That's fucking perfect role playing. So I think it's time to form an army here. This Radan guy. I don't see Jaime the Prince. That usually means that they don't have enough resources to form another army here. This guy's, for some reason or other, he has too many troops. But I think what we'll do here is leave an army up north and start to head south. Now I could go north. I'm going to grab some of the troops from Ortengard here, which means it's more likely to be attacked. It just is what it is, right? You only have so many resources in Bannerlord, and it really is triage right now because we just don't have the troops. Now I have a huge army, but we're going to split this into 2 armies. I'm still tempted to go north and deal with the Sturgians some more, but the other point I just wanted to mention, it just happened a second ago, is the Aserai and the Southern Empire declared peace. I'll look in a minute, but I'm pretty sure the Southern Empire have nobody that they're at war with except us. So you don't have to be a rocket scientist to prognosticate what's coming. This is one of those instances where it's really important to have intel as a commander, as a campaign leader. You want to be paying attention to these things, right? Just like we tracked down this Kanar, whatever the fuck, the Beni Zalal guy. Suddenly we have a bunch of armies here. And there's a pretty good chance that we're going to be able to form 2 significant sized armies here with Jaim the Prince, or I guess it... Nah, we get this city. We're taking all the cities for a little while here. Wazuban needs to build up a bunch of garrisons. But I guess it won't be Jaim the Prince. There it goes already. See how quick that is? That's why it's so important to give them influence. Now it looks like he doesn't want Zahara, the spice vendor. I heard she's got really bad BO, so we'll pick her up and get her to a nice Kazate Springs here, a nice Russian whatever equivalent hot springs. Get her some perfume and stuff like that, and we will re-add her to the army. I don't really like single armies running around at this stage, especially not my own companion armies, because if they get captured so readily, these forces here of 270 and 223, they just instantly destroy armies like hers. Right? She's got 116. And she will get mangled. So this guy doesn't have great stats, and they're only at war with us. So you don't have to be a rocket scientist to tell that they're going to go right past Razi, and they're coming for us, right? Whether it's Danustica, Hassan Folk, or one of the castles down there, the Southern Empire is definitely coming our direction. So we're going to rocket down south. This other guy looks like he's going south. Okay. I've got enough time to handle this. The Sturgians are sieging here. This is actually kind of optimal. We're going to be able to give them one last beatdown before we rocket south. I'm going to run over here to Makeb, defend it, and then we will head south. This is campaign strategy, and a lot of guys probably were waiting for this stage. We're getting quests back left and right, which is really nice because we're getting a bunch of troops. So we're going to dump all these troops onto Zahara the Body Odor. Maybe if we create a clan with her, we'll have to run with that role playing. It's fun to just, take an idea and run with it, so it's a standing joke in a campaign. But Zahara, the Body Odor, she can take on these extra troops here. I might even leave one companion up here at Makeb, and hopefully they just kind of get into a city if it's going to be besieged. You can't even tell these companions, hey, go to this city and stay there. That's not an option unless you have those mods. I did play around with a mod a long time ago that had something like that. Now, these Southern Empire fucks are a problem. They've got look at all these looters. These are probably the guys that captured Jaim the Prince. So it's a sizable Sturgian force, but we're going to throttle these guys, right? If you've been watching the last couple hours, Wazuban and his army are a medieval steamroller, right? No, don't chase that guy. Fucking help us. God damn it. Well, we're going to help this guy then. If he's going to chase this guy down, he'd probably get killed without our aid, so we're going to help him here. Because I want this guy to join our army, right? This Beni Zalal guy. Although, I don't think he's in our army. We need as many troops as we can, though. Hence the desire to add this other minor clan. He's not in our army. He's in... he must be in... Oh, he is in Radan's army, which is good, right? That means we just helped him. So Radan is going to have those troops as well, wherever he forms his army. Look at this guy. He just barrels in here and attacks. You might want to wait for us there, dude. You're 50 on 1,500. I mean, maybe he's another one of the easily enraged guys. He just flies into battle. I love it. Look at this old beast. This guy just looks like a fucking badass. All right, so into battle here against the Sturgians. And this will probably be the last battle against the Sturgians for a little while. So if you want to see more battles against the Sturgians, don't come to the channel for 2 weeks, and hopefully there'll be some fights with the Sturgians for you. Actually, now please come to the channel, of course. There will be more battles with the Sturgians, right? Clearly they're going to be a problem for a while, but we've got to take a little break. Wazuban is homesick. We're going to dispose of this Sturgian force quickly here, hopefully quickly, and then we will head south. Got the 2nd and 3rd division here. We've got a little line to hold, but we'll see. If they're not aggressive, we'll move up. Anytime at the beginning of a battle, I take advantage of the chance that the enemy may be aggressive, right? If they're going to be aggressive and attack you, let them. God damn it. We'll see how bad this hampers me in this battle. My fucking cat is in my lap. Alright, we're making it work, although I can't fucking throw my javelin to save my life now. Distracted by a fucking pussy cat. He's an old feller, you know. If he was like a young kitten, I would just fire him onto the ground. But this guy's old. He's got arthritis, so I'll feel like a dick if I just ditch him. He's probably saying, "Dad, you're playing too much Bannerlord." My wife and I don't have kids. We met each other late, and so our pets are our kids. When we retire, we're gonna have 2 dogs, 2 cats, 2 ducks, and we're basically gonna, have very inexpensive children that we don't take on vacation. Oh, there he goes. Okay. Make it a little bit easier here. All right, so we're going to envelop this Sturgian force. It's a large force, and there's tons of archers out front, right? You can see all the flaming arrows coming my direction. I'm just barely avoiding a lot of these. What I'm going to do here is, as our units are coming up, we're going to attack these guys right here. That actually worked. They bailed pretty well, but I'm also going to bring up the 8th Cavalry, right? We're going to assault and basically try to occupy their archers while the rest of our units come up, right? The 1st and 2nd is shield wall, hopefully to absorb some arrows, because these archers are a problem. They have a lot of them, and I don't need to suffer 800 casualties in this battle, right? We're going to win, that's for sure. I mean, apologies. Well, no apologies. I mean, you guys know we're going to win against an even-sized force, but I want to win this emphatically, right? So this is how I deal with lots of archers, right? You send cavalry through them. Right now we're sparring. Our archers would probably do just fine on their own, but I want to continue to keep these archers occupied, right? So every time we sort of cycle around here and their attention is pulled away from us, we're going to fly back in and do a little terrorism here, right? Chop some of their guys down. We'll suffer some cavalry losses, but it's worth it. It's worth it to have all of their archers sort of running around, scrambling around, instead of shooting at our troops. You see how they're all running around? Half of them are panicked and shit. The AI is coded, and this would be the same in real life. If the heavy cavalry is charging through you, you're not going to stand there and shoot. Of course, if you have archers, that's precisely what you want them to do, right? If you're in a battle and you have lots of archers and the enemy heavy cavalry is charging through you, don't run. That's the worst thing you can do. Have those guys either charge and hold fire, right? F1, F3, and then F4, or just fucking have them hold still. That way they're shooting, they're doing a good job of injuring some of the cavalry, and most importantly, they're actually participating instead of being cut down. Now here we're going to join our men on foot. I'm just pulling this 1st Division as a distractionary square right across the front of the enemy face. We've got horse archers over here strafing them. They've got 3 other archer divisions scorching them. And now we're going to do a little shield and shock here, right? 2nd Division pushing into the enemy. 3rd and 6th charge. These are both shock troops, and I'm going to wade in with them. We're going to obliterate this main vanguard. They got a lot of tough infantry. Every guy here is tier 6. Well, I got a lot of attention. You young kids call this aggro, right? You pull aggro. I definitely got aggro in this battle. These guys are aggro. I think that stands for aggravated, right? These guys are fucking highly belligerent. They're all fucking pugnacious. We use some other large words. Some guys hate the big words. Other guys are like, bring on more, right? Like they want to increase their literary acumen. They want to increase their vocabulary. It doesn't just make you sound smarter, it makes you smarter, right? It's proven that the more you stuff into your brain, the more exercise you give your brain, the smarter you get, right? You can literally exercise your brain, and I think you fellas should be. That might even be the long-term answer to Alzheimer's. What am I saying? I'm saying the long-term answer to Alzheimer's, some of it's genetics, of course, and we'll probably have some advantages with drugs, but the long-term answer might be just using our brain more. In other words, if you and your girlfriend or wife or whatever are going on a road trip, don't fucking use Google. Don't use the maps the whole fucking time. That way you're forced to use your brain, look at a map beforehand, plot your route, and then actually memorize that shit before you get in the car. Really good for your brain. All right, the Sturgians are still coming in hot here. I'm surprised they haven't just fucking routed off the field, but it's a pretty tough army, right? They've got some good-looking troops in this battle. And again, at the beginning of the battle, we were outnumbered, so 160. They really don't have that many troops, though. There's a bunch of infantry coming up sort of piecemeal. The flaming arrows from our elite archers are scorching everything in sight. Their cavalry is just cut down like bitches. But they're still coming, right? There's lots of Sturgians coming over the ridge. Alright, well, we'll play ball. We've got our first division just continuing to be a distractionary square. It's one of the best strategies in Bannerlord. It's basically the easiest strategy, is to have a square of 50 to 100 infantry, stick it out towards the enemy, and let your archers, skirmishers, and cavalry work. If that's the only thing you do, is spread your archers and stick an infantry division in a square, you will have manifestly more success than the guy who's not doing that. I'm probably too far away here, but we're going to charge again with this shock troop division. Get shot in the neck with a flaming arrow. My fucking... My voice pipe is on fire. That's got to hurt. My cavalry runs the wrong way, of course. Artificial imbecility. Go towards the enemy, you stupid fucks. And now it's Archer carve apart city here. Man, the enemy's really beelining to my character this battle. Usually they kind of ignore me. This battle, they're all over me. Fuck you guys. There literally is a posse of them chasing me around. Everywhere I go, every guy's holding up his shield and trying to attack me. Fuck you guys. It's a beautiful scene. There's fucking flaming arrows flying all over the place. There's a gorgeous full moon. And these Sturgians look like they're going to fight to the last man here. This battle is totally over, and they're not giving up. They got trucks coming in here and fucking tier 2 and tier 3 infantry trying to kill me. Behind me yelling, I'll cut you down! I'm going to get trapped in here. Fucking assholes, get off. The death spam is unbelievably green, right? This Sturgian force is being liquidated. The only reason I think they're holding on here is they have high-level lords. That's one of the little artifacts or consequences, side effects of this strength and AI mod, is the enemy doesn't like to give up, right? They have lords that have perks and leadership and all kinds of things where their troops fucking fight to the death. You can think of it like the troops that fought for Napoleon, right? These troops don't rout. They don't, until they're killed or really being blasted, they don't rout, right? I know, of course, the old guard routed, his old guard routed at Waterloo. But when you're an elite commander, like a lot of these lords that we're facing are, right? They got 300 in leadership and 280 in steward and 430 in steward and whatnot. What happens is your troops, just like in real life, these guys fucking fight for you, right? They're not giving up. They have faith that you as a commander, that's kind of the idea behind it, that you're a military fucking guru, and they should stand their ground, right? If you're telling them to fight, they trust your experience, basically. Well, in this case, it's going to cost every single one of these Sturgians their lives. They've got a giant, there goes a lord, they've got a giant line of a spread. These guys are spread peasants, basically. It's like a bad porn scene. Spread peasants. It's just a bunch of fucking recruits and whatnot spread into a giant fucking pile of dog shit, basically. No one would buy that porn. And it's just a screen of green here as we plow through here. I can't help but wonder if there's a lord. That's why they're holding on. Sometimes if there's a lord alive, that guy's got to die before their troops break. They should be breaking. I think there he is. Fuck you. That's the original guy. That's the old guy. Come get some. Oh shit. Well, he came and got some, all right. Hopefully that didn't kill Wazuban. And that is the effect of strength and AI mod, right? I couldn't even get off a second swing. Like a lot of my battles lately, I parried the wrong direction. And Wazuban met his match there. Of course, he was almost dead. His health was low. It'd have been interesting if I had half my health to see that little Lord encounter. I dig it, and I actually dig the fact that the Lords will take you out now in this campaign. Lords in vanilla Bannerlord are usually such a weak bitch, right? Unless you run into a Caladog or one of the Lords that's super amplified. Most of them are absolute fucking weak bitches wearing paper armor, one shot like a bitch. And that was, even though, of course, I wanted to win and cut that guy down all gloriously for you fellas, that's a good thing for the campaign, that we know there are lords out there where if you swing and don't parry, you're a dead man, right? They'll fucking wipe you out. I didn't see how much damage it was, but it was probably a lot. Just a guess, the guy probably has 280 to 300 two-handed skill, right? So he's basically the same level of two-handed skill as my character. And the AI does a pretty decent job of parrying. This is him right here, in fact. This old guy. Yeah, 288 two-handed. So it's the exact same as Wazuban. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to tip our cap to this guy, shake his hand, and release him here. Just a little bit of, we'll call it good sportsmanship. You know, I know it's just a fucking digital pixel here. But I'm going to roleplay that this entire campaign is full of player characters. And we just got owned by some guy on the other end of a computer who fucking mauled Wazuban. You guys can always let me know what you think about shit like that. If you think it's dumb to release these guys, I don't think it fucking matters, right? We're still crushing the game even though we're releasing these guys. It has virtually no effect. The rest of these bitches will sell. Slave Trader, some of these guys. And I think it's time to head south, right? To me, it's clearly a situation where the Southern Empire is coming. This is a good example of skating to where the puck is going to be, right? That's a saying you'll hear a lot in life. And obviously, the premise of that, the corollary of that is that you want to anticipate events, right? So we're going to head south. We're going to leave a good-sized garrison here. I've got the other army. Who knows what they're going to do? But this seems like a good spot to wrap this episode up. So, of course, if you want to see more from this campaign, fellas, you want to subscribe, I appreciate you, fellas. Leave comments and all that kind of good stuff. With all that said, guys, I will see you next time.